Welcome to Secular Sessions, the ultimate destination for authentic conversations and stimulating debates. I'm your host, Raj. My mission is simple: to promote critical thinking and ignite meaningful conversations that inspire curiosity and open-mindedness. Join me on this incredible journey as we navigate through the topics such as science, philosophy, ethics, and the wonders of the natural world. Welcome to Secular Sessions, where critical thinking finds its home. Hello, friends. Welcome to Secular Sessions. Sorry about the wait. It has been a while since I've done one interview, and thanks to Shilpa that I'm getting to do this interview as I haven't done it in a while. Hey, Shilpa, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. You're the second interview I had with a girl, so thank you so much for being part of it. And
Yeah,
yeah, hope
precious.
you're having a great day. So, what made you an atheist? Were you atheist from the get-go?
No, I was actually extremely religious. I grew up in I am from Kerala and my family is Christian and like my mother is extremely religious
Hmm.
and I grew up in a extremely religious household where we went to church every Sunday and every Sunday morning it was a whole battlefield out here because you had to wake up. Usually to go to school you used to wake up at 6 and to go to church you had to wake up at 5:30 and I hated it.
Five,
And I
5:30.
had yeah, because it was, you had to travel in a bus for a distance to go to the church. And
Oh, I
you had
see.
to wake up early because you need to reach on time at the church. There is a thing called, yeah, it's like you receive the flesh of Jesus. And,
Ah,
it's
okay.
like, yeah, so you need to reach there on time to receive the flesh of Jesus.
Isn't it isn't it like a biscuit that they give or a cookie that
Yeah, biscuit is for Catholics. Okay, so I am an Orthodox Christian. We have it like it's like a kind of a soft bread
okay.
that is broken up and yeah. So yeah, so to receive that you need to reach early and attend the mass from the beginning. So do that you have to reach there at 8:30. Okay, and for that we need to wake up at 5 and get ready by 6 and get on the bus by 7 or whatever. So I used to absolutely hate it. And I still, even now, when I look back at it, I think that's the worst waste of my time. I could have slept on Sundays and just going to church every Sunday. I absolutely hated. But
So
yeah, so we used to go to church, and I grew up in a very religious family.
awesome. So the waste of time was that you didn't get to sleep enough. You could have
Yeah,
utilized it for any other way, but you wanted to use it for sleep.
I could have picked up a fine new hobby.
I agree. I like sleeping as well. I mean, there's been
Yeah.
countless times I sleep in, and that's fine. It's funny that people say that you receive the flesh of Jesus when they give you a little bread or cookie or something else. Because I'm
It's
not
actually
sure.
grotesque, don't you think? When you grow up part of it, you are used to it. But like when you explain it to someone like that, I have realized multiple times when I have explained it to my Hindu friends, or you know, I have realized how grotesque it sounds. Right? You're like,
I was gonna say it's like partially cannibalism.
yeah, it's kind of like that.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
in your version of Christianity, what do you think? Jesus is a son of God or a God or what's?
The rest of it is same. The only difference between Orthodox Christians and Catholics is that we don't we don't have that as many saints. That's it. It's the same. I mean, it's the same bullshit.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, it's son of God, but part of the Holy Trinity, kind of like that.
Okay, so your parents know that you're an atheist now, or you're proclaimed to be an atheist?
Actually, I am in no contact with my mother
Oh,
because of a multitude of reasons, and so I've maybe for the past 1.5 over 1.5 years, almost 2 years, I've not been in contact with her. Matlab,
okay.
right now I'm at my house, she's also here, but we don't talk. And it's very cold. Okay. So it's like that. So, and she knows, and she absolutely hates me for that. And she
Mhm.
thinks that I am totally, I'm a lost cause. I'm not, wasted child. But
Mm.
my dad is kind of, I mean, kind of open to my dad. My dad knows I'm an atheist, and I have had prolonged discussions with him about it. And I think more or less he also agrees with me, though he is not like the kind of person, or he's not part of that generation where he would like to come out and proclaim that he's an atheist, but he doesn't believe in any of this, as far as I see.
Okay, so um, when your dad found out that you're an atheist, although he's fine with it now, what was his reaction?
He couldn't care less. And
Okay.
I don't think he even believed to begin with. My mom was the one who was extremely religious and hell bent on taking all of us to church and all that.
Mhm.
And actually, I think all of us have been, in a way tortured by her being go to church. And I don't think he ever enjoyed it either.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So, when you were going in the church as a child, what was the one thing that you thought was great when you were as a child, but thinking back as an adult, you thought I will, you know, I had probably lost it. That's why I believe that thing was awesome.
Okay. I would like to, say through the process of how, more than why I feel like how I became an
Oh,
atheist.
that's cool.
I, yeah. So as a kid, as a really young kid, I used to think that, God is this really loving person who sees everyone equally and,
Hmm.
loves everyone equally. That's the idea you have, right? That's what you believe. And then I was a voracious reader since I was a kid. I used to read a lot. And I used to, we have this thing called Sunday school. Okay. So
Hmm.
we,
Yeah.
we go to church, and they, like, after church, there is a class where they teach you about
Hmm.
Jesus and his teachings and whatnot. So yeah, so there we had teachers. So they used to, not just there actually, like even in my family or any Christian you meet, they'd always be like, you should read the Bible, and how if you read the Bible, you'll know
Yeah.
how it's the truth and the ultimate everything, blah blah. So I was like, and all these people who say that, I'm sure they haven't read it. I'm sure, like 99% of them haven't read it. But because I was like, I think I was 11 years old, and I was like, I anyways read a lot. I used to read a lot, like
Hmm.
I think mostly to escape my real life because it was kind of toxic at my house. But yeah, so I used to read a lot, and I was like, anyways, I read a lot, so let me just read this book and find out what's it all about. And I
Hmm.
remember reading the Bible 11 years old, cover to cover, and realizing that, oh my God, all my ideas of this God being this loving person who loves everyone equally is totally not true. And clearly, the Bible has multiple, mentions of how women are lesser than men, in a lot of ways, especially in the Old Testaments. There is a lot of writing regarding how, women should be, and especially menstruating, how menstruating women are impure, and, you know, a man should take a bath if they touch a menstruating woman, and
Oh, wow.
a lot of,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of it. These are just the few that I faintly remember. There is so much more. And like, if a woman has sex before marriage, she should be stoned to death. Something
Oh.
along those lines. I don't remember the exact, because I'm sure if some Christian watches this, they'll be like, no, it was because that woman, it is exactly the verse is like this. I don't remember, but along those lines, okay. And he is definitely not this loving person who thinks everyone is equal. Like, definitely that's not the idea that was being sold in the Bible.
Mhm.
Clearly, okay. So I remember reading that book, and I read the Bible cover to cover, and I came out of it thinking, wow, I am not equal to a man.
Hmm.
That is the conclusion 11-year-old me reached, because till then I was this feminist who used to be like, why am I, I used to always argue with my mother because she used to make me do household chores, and my brother was exempt from it. And I used to be like, why are you doing that? And after
Hmm.
reading the Bible, I was like, oh my God, she's right. I'm not equal to a man. I'm
Hmm.
not equal to a boy. I'm somehow something lesser, and I should be ashamed of myself because I menstruate and whatnot. And I think that was around the time when I got my periods, and it was it for a woman. It's really difficult, that stage when you start menstruating, because it's so
Hmm.
confusing and it's so new and it's so, you know, all of a sudden, it's a totally different, weird feeling, and there
Yeah.
are a lot of things you have to deal with,
Hmm.
and And that was the exact time I read the Bible too. And I think as a person, I was I really lost my, self-worth after reading the
Mm.
Bible, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I believe that book. More than anything, I actually thought that that book can't be wrong, right? Because so many people clearly believe it, I
Mhm.
can't be the only person who's like, oh, that book is wrong and I'm right. And that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
So I'm probably wrong and the book is right and I am worthless,
Mhm.
That's the conclusion I came to.
Mhm.
Okay, so after that, I was preparing for JEE. So
Mhm.
I went to a preparatory, like a coaching institute. And that was more of, losing self-worth, part of that cycle, right? Of losing
Yeah.
self-worth. And I used to be an extreme religious person if you're doing that time because you're so stressed, right? Your life is shit and you're stressed and you are like, yeah, let me just, this God is there for me, and He's the one who's gonna help me through it, and whatever. You become extremely religious. I was okay,
Mhm.
and I used to go to church during that time, by
Yeah.
myself every Sunday. Even though my life was shit, I should have slept. Like what was I doing? I should have just slept.
Mm.
But yeah, I used to go to church, and I used to be an extreme believer. So that was that time, and after that, I got into college. So I went to IIT Kharagpur, and I was like, that was the phase where I started questioning things. First time in my life, I had some freedom, some independence, and
Yeah.
I was away from my house, and yeah. So the first time I started questioning things, but I would say that since my coaching time, I have been like depressed,
Okay.
even though I only like 2021, I think I went to a psychiatrist and not a psychiatrist, I guess psychologist. Yeah, psychologist.
Psychologist, maybe
Yeah, yeah. And I got, what is it?
therapy or
What's the word? I got diagnosed. Sorry, I got diagnosed
okay,
with,
sure.
sorry.
That's all right.
I got diagnosed with uh, depression. Okay, that's the only time I got that. But I do think I've been in and out of it, for a long time now. Even now, I deal with it. But that was the worst period of my life. I would say, like after getting to college, actually was the worst. I was really
Mhm.
depressed and I was lost and I felt no sense of purpose. And I used to get these threatening calls from home. Uh, it's all a sob story. Anyways, I used to get these threatening calls from home about, my mom would be like, you need to get married after college, I'll get you married, and
Mhm.
this and that. And, you better, she, I think she was really worried that I would just, have sex and drink and, smoke.
Mhm.
I don't know what. I definitely didn't do any of that.
Mhm.
Anyways, so yeah, so she used to make a lot of threatening calls, and I was continuously depressed through the whole uh first few years of college.
How
I
are
I
you?
would say,
How are you now? Just out of curiosity.
I've come to the sad realization that life is a battle, like you battle with it every day. It's not like one fine day you wake up and you're cured of it. Maybe I was actually considering like a few days back that maybe what if I go on like pills, I don't know. Would that
Mm.
help? I don't know. But I do feel it's a constant fight, Sometimes there are days I feel better and sometimes there are days I feel really bad. But yeah, sometimes, right now I'm in a kind of a bad phase because I resigned and I've been through a breakup. So
Mhm.
it's kind of difficult right now. So maybe that's why I'm feeling a little bit more recently. But yeah, there are good days and there are bad days. That's how I'll put it. I don't know if there are people out there who have recovered completely from depression. If they have, great. I would like to know how they did that.
Yes, that's a very, very serious topic, and just want to acknowledge that depression is not a light thing. In our country, especially, mental health is not considered really good. Mental health is at the bottom of the barrel. If you can't see anyone in pain, they
Yeah.
just assume that you're fine, and that's not it. So depression, your body is just gets into, as you say, it's an everyday battle. So I commend you for going through it, and please don't give up on that. And that's
Yeah.
that's the main thing that.
I actually, when I went to a psychologist, I remember she asked me multiple times if I'm suicidal, okay? And I wasn't suicidal, and I know that about me, that I'm not suicidal, but that doesn't mean I feel any better. I feel like, life is pointless, and how, I'm so young. I had this worst feeling during COVID, which was that, I'm just 20. I was 22 back then. Then I was just 22, and like I have such a long life to live, and I'm already so tired of this. And how am
Hmm.
I going to live for, 40, 50 years more? I'm really tired of this, already,
Hmm.
But it's not exactly suicidal, it isn't. But, you know, and the psychologist, I felt like she was constantly, she was like, "Oh, you're not suicidal, then it's not a big deal, right? It's not depression
Um,
anymore,
I
you
I
know."
I don't think so, because
Yeah, it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not. It's very difficult for me sometimes, even now, when I think of it, you know, it's very difficult. Those thought trains are really difficult. It's really difficult to get out of it, and you have to deal with it on a constant basis.
Hmm.
So
No,
yeah,
when I used the word give up, maybe that wasn't the right word. I didn't mean suicidal. What I wanted to
yeah.
say, I
No,
wanted to,
no.
yeah, I wanted to say that, just be strong, and whatever you want to achieve in life, just aim for that. And life, there's just one life, right? And
Yeah.
so let's just have fun. Do whatever you like to do, as long as it's not troublesome. In Big Boss, what did Salman Khan said? Do double, but no trouble.
Okay.
This is what I
I
when I
watched the
used to watch.
Malayalam Big Boss.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta
It's
pick
way
up the
more
good
fun,
things.
trust me.
Huh?
Huh?
What were
It's
you
way
saying?
more fun. The Malayalam Big Boss, I think, I was just saying, I think it's way more
Well, I don't watch Big Boss or any of the programs
fun. Okay.
nowadays, because
Okay.
I started to feel like TV is just a waste of time.
Mm.
I mostly like to watch YouTube though, like snake
Mm.
shows, or there is a Chandler Wildlife, a YouTube channel in which,
I've watched Chandler's Wildlife.
yeah,
The
so
guy with a lot of snakes and all, right?
yeah, crocodiles, snakes, and I think
Yeah, yeah.
he's very good educationalist. That person. So knowing about the, animals, and because I think humans are animals, and the more and more animal videos I watch, I just realize that humans or chimpanzees are the animals who actually kill for vengeance. Other animals just kill because they want to eat or protect themselves. They,
You think humans kill for it? Oh, okay. Humans kill other humans for it.
yeah, I mean, for
Animals also do
vengeance,
that.
or, huh?
Animals also do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are exceptional, obviously, but most
I don't think
animals.
it's exceptional. I remember watching this documentary on lions where, male lions kill other male lions, you know, on encounter because, that would increase their chances of having more offspring. And they don't eat those lions. They're just killing them so that their offspring can survive. I can come up, even chimpanzees. There was a documentary on Netflix that I watched where male chimpanzees, if they come across other male chimpanzees who are not part of their
Hmm.
group, they just kill them, not to eat them, just to show a message. I think that's
No,
part of.
I mean, what I was saying is, yes, male lions do that because they want to have more offsprings, and but like chimpanzees, because chimpanzees have almost the same DNA, or whatever you call it, as humans. So all the chimps, or the ape-like people, they do kill for vengeance, and they can plan and kill, whereas most animals generally do the killing when they want to eat someone, or obviously there's lots and lots of exceptions if we go into the
Yeah,
details.
I'm not sure you can make that simple.
I'm probably can't. I need to expand my horizon on that.
Because you said that I also watch a lot of documentaries. I love watching documentaries. And I used to watch a lot of Animal Planet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, I
I've
used to love watching.
recently started to do that, and due to
Yeah.
COVID, right? Because in COVID you don't do much but watch the telly. But I like to watch these sort of things, so to, know more about life in general. And just there was one thing that you mentioned, that you used to go to the church on Sunday and stuff. And when you started menstruating, then you had decline in your self-worth. Just out of curiosity, because in a Hindu religion, I remember when a woman is menstruating, she's not allowed to go to the temple. Is it the same in church, or is it different?
Actually, like I have, like my mother has told me that when you're menstruating, you should not accept the flesh and blood of Christ. That
Okay.
is sacred, and you should not. But I have never, even back then, I have never given much worth to it. I was like, who knows? Like, who knows if it's true? Fuck
Mm.
everyone. Oh, sorry, I should not.
No.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like, who's gonna find out? Like, I didn't care, but people used to say that, but it was not never strictly enforced. No one
Okay.
enforced it. Yeah.
Cool. And before we started this interview, you were telling about the ginger tea story. Yeah, June.
Yeah. I think after becoming an atheist, I have realized honestly, it's not about being an atheist. It's
Hmm.
about looking at your life critically, not even life, looking at everything critically,
Yeah.
why are you doing like even the smallest thing you're doing, there should be some sense. It's not because someone told you to do it or, because whatever, there is this thing called Kripasanam. Okay. Have you heard of it? I
No,
think
no.
it's quite popular on the Reddit atheism India page because I think that page is a lot of Malayalis actually. But and mostly a lot of Malayalis. Anyways, so there is this thing called the Kripasan. It's like a newsletter published by the Catholic Church of Kerala. Okay,
Okay.
so what this newsletter is that these Catholics, especially the Catholics, even the other Christians of Kerala also follow it more or less, but they believe that this paper is like it has magical powers. Okay, so like if you are going to write an exam, then you would eat a page out of the out of the magazine, and there are people. There are honest to God, there are people who go to church and then after you gain something, you have to like there's a thing where you go and you preach, like you explain, you tell everyone that you did this and God blessed you and you got
Hmm.
this. So that's
Oh, I see.
the thing. Yeah. So they're like, I ate a page of Kripasinam, and I fast. I
So it's like a mini version of Bible, it seems like.
it's but people don't read the Bible. That is never.
Well, it's a
I
big
never.
book, like this big, right?
Yeah, Bible is pretty big. Yeah, but there are no accounts of people like claiming that it has eating a Bible or things like that having magical this thing that I
Hmm.
have not heard of. I've not come across it.
Yeah.
But Kripasanam is very different. It's like it's a magical book. You eat it. There are other things. You sleep with Kripasanam under your pillow, then you wake
Oh,
up and
wow.
yeah, like women who have not conceived for like 10 years, they would be like, I did something with this book,
Huh.
whatever, and then they conceive.
Okay.
Extremely weird. Anyways, but yeah, you see a lot of it. It's not a one-off thing,
Mhm.
but a lot of people who actually believe it. So why is it that was I didn't talk that is that there are people who believe in all these ailment cures, which have no scientific basis, and I just started questioning everything at that point. It's
Mhm.
like I really need to understand what's there is this show in Malayalam called there is this what is it called? I don't remember the name of the show, but it's a really good show. Okay? It's a debate show.
Mhm.
It's hosted by a communist channel. Okay, so a lot of communists in Kerala. So there's a communist channel called 24/7, and there's a debate show hosted, and they actually bring a lot of these fake uh, Ayurveda people. Not Ayurveda exactly, like not even Ayurveda. Like fake people who practice random medicine, who
Mhm.
whatever they claim, whatever, and then there are scientists on the other side who debate. Okay, so I watched a lot of that. Is a really good show, and I
Oh,
used to
wow.
watch it, and I started questioning it. And I learned how to question uh, everything. Like I was like, I'm going to question everything from now. And I think like people around me find that irritating. I have,
I wonder
yeah,
why.
yeah. Because someone is just saying, oh, drink turmeric tea, to cure stomach
Hmm.
cramps. And I'm like, that it doesn't work. Like, where did you get that? There is no research behind it. There is no proof. And I have to do it because it doesn't do anything, clearly to me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I question everything. And it's not even about that. I'm saying becoming an atheist is not about being an atheist. It's not even about this. It's about applying that to every aspect of your life.
Critical
on
thinking.
questioning everything. Yeah, critical thinking, not believing something just because someone tells you that.
Mm,
And I feel like even in a lot of interpersonal relationships, where I used to think, I think I used to be a little naive growing up,
mm,
and I used to believe people a lot, and I would just blindly believe people. But now I've come to question people.
mm,
If you tell me a story, I would think, is this guy lying? I
yeah.
would question everything. So
Mm.
yeah,
No, it's a good thing to question everything. And
yeah,
even though I say I'm a critical thinker, there are some times when I just say things and then I go back, why did I say that? I have no proof
yeah,
of it. You know, I'm
yeah,
still trying to
yeah.
learn. And it's just a habit, right? Sometimes when
Yeah, yeah, I must say it is a really hard ingrained habit that,
mm,
even when I started critical thinking, I have, like I say things and then I analyze, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And then I come to the conclusion that I was wrong. It's a constant process. And I feel like once I adopted it, I feel as a person, I feel really like I understand the world around me. That's the feeling I get. I have more grip on the world around me. I used to find it difficult before. Now
mm.
I feel like I understand, things better, and I
Yeah,
feel like my decisions are more informed, and life is that bit easier. It never
uh,
gets easier, but
I don't know if
yeah,
it becomes easier though, because the more I think about the life is like before when I didn't used to think more, and wasn't a very good critical thinker, then my life was, well, arguably a little easier because I wouldn't think about the consequences and won't get stressed on that. And I was more of a decision maker than actual critical, thinker. Hang on, I
I
just
think it was the opposite for me because I think previously I used to make decisions out, irrational decisions, and I used to be confused. I feel like, I grew up. I don't know if I can blame that again on my mother. I feel like I blame my mother a lot. But
mm,
again, I used to feel very doubtful of myself. I never felt too sure about myself. I felt like anything I'm doing is probably stupid. All the decisions I make are probably stupid, and I used to constantly feel that way. And I used to doubt myself a lot, and I was so confused and lost. Now
mm.
I feel like I can make decisions, and I
Oh
can
yeah,
make informed
you
decisions,
can
and
definitely
can stand by them. Yeah.
calculated risk is much better than just a risk, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to know the things around it. You just reminded me of something. Like I was talking to my ex the other day and I bought an air fryer and she said, yeah, I've heard air fryer is really good and things are really awesome and you can get crispy chicken and crispy chips out of it. So I said, oh, do you know why air fryer is so convenient and good? And she said, kid you not, she said, built-in technology. And I was like, doesn't it bother you that you don't know why it's better than a standard oven? And she was like,
I don't actually. I think I watched a few videos in which they talk about how it's actually similar to a oven
oh, it is.
convection.
It is
Yeah, the
exactly like,
technology is similar, right?
well, basically in the oven. And we are totally digressing from this conversation to cooking classes with Raj call me atheist. But anyways, so with the oven, it's big in size, right? And it's got a little
Yeah.
rod which heats up, and then
Huh.
there's the fan which transfer the heat. But because the area is big, it takes longer to heat up, and
Oh,
and
oh,
the hot air is just are all around rather than just concentrated. Whereas air
oh,
fryer is a lot smaller. It has a
yeah.
smaller rod, but the area is so small,
Uh,
and there's a little fan on the air fryer which helps, go. At the bottom, there is just some welded mounts which gets the air to flow in different directions. So that's why you get more crisp out of it because the area is really small and it cooks the food a lot quicker. So the timing
oh,
from like if you want to cook a chicken from an hour 10 minutes, it can go down to like 20-25 minutes.
okay.
Yeah, because it's not heating a lot of area, and to heat an area, you need more electricity and all, and you know, that's how air fryer works. Now you should buy an air fryer because it's really convenient cooking when you don't want to cook. You just chop thing and put it
Okay.
in
Yeah, let me get a job first.
there. I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll get it. So, growing up, what was the switch? was for you like when you started thinking and you started to doubt your theism because you said you were extremely religious? Was it really hard for you to change?
Actually, I changed when during COVID I had to come back home,
Mhm,
and I had to live here for like 2 years, I guess, almost
mhm,
1.5, I think. Yeah. So when I came back, again, I had to be in my house with my mother, and that's never that good. And there was a lot of trouble, and I had to deal with a lot of things. I got depressed and everything. And all my life, every time I have, had issues with my mother, I have. I've never believed in myself. I always thought I'm wrong and she's
mhm,
right and I'm a stupid kid and I'm worthless. That's how I always thought. And all of a sudden I was like, I think I became a person. I became an adult. That was the time I was becoming an adult and I was
mhm.
in this really difficult situation mentally. And I think I went online and I watched, I don't know, I somehow got into watching a lot of Richard Dawkins videos. Have you watched Richard Dawkins?
Yes, yes, I watched his
He's amazing.
documentary.
He's amazing. I
Yeah.
think he's my favorite human being alive on this planet. I feel. Yeah. So I watched a lot of his lectures. I have literally watched all of his lectures that I found on YouTube.
Mm,
So yeah, so I watched his lectures, and I think I love how he talks. He's so critical. I've seen other atheists, like if you look at Christopher Hitchens, everyone loves Christopher Hitchens, but I don't think he's as logically grounded as Richard Dawkins is.
well,
And,
one is a scientist and one is a presenter, right? So
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
difference.
and I probably have a bias towards scientists.
Mm,
So, yeah, Richard Dawkins is really grounded, and everything he says, there is logic, there is statistics, there is evidence, and I love it. And you know, whole the way he carries himself, the way he has debates. He's so respectful. Even when the other person is being stoned down,
mm.
you feel so irritated listening to he had a debate with a woman who was a creationist, and she was arguing how evolution shouldn't be taught in schools in USA, so it shouldn't be taught in schools, and creationism should be taught in schools and everything. And he's so respectful towards her, and I found it incredibly difficult. How is he being that respectful? I'd be like, yeah. So yeah, so I really found him very interesting, and I watched a lot of his videos, and that I
Mm.
think converted me.
So Richard Dawkins is responsible for converting you to atheism.
Yes, he very much is. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not one single thing, right? It's a process. You watch other
Mm,
things because I started watching the debate show I talked about, and I loved it. I think that was the same around the same time I watched that also.
mhm.
So it was a bunch of things. I think YouTube. One good thing about YouTube is that you once get into this loop, they keep
Mm.
showing you things in that loop, right? In that
Yeah, it infects your
universe.
homepage.
Yeah. So I watched a lot of content and so.
Okay. And was it hard for you to go away from religion, like your identity as a theist?
I don't think so. I think I was fed up. I think I was at a stage where I was fed up of a lot of things in my life, and I was just rebelling against a lot of things, and
Mm.
it just came by, and I accepted it, and I felt better.
So waking up at 5:30, if you have to wake up for anything for 5:30, then you probably get fed up of that and that'll put you off of things. And you're finding a way out and then it kind of how
Yeah, no, but back then I wasn't.
I'm
Waking up
just
at 5:30
kidding.
was a thing during childhood. Yeah, I know, but when I was here during COVID, churches were closed, and people used to attend church through the TV. That was the
Mm.
whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So.
COVID definitely provided a lot of guidance to me,
Yeah, and
especially.
I think after COVID, no, people actually stopped going to church in general. One recently, like there was a cousin's wedding or something, and I went to church for that. And the priest was like, after COVID, people are not coming to church. I found it extremely funny. People are like, let's just tune in to mass on TV. Why should we go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you have to do social distancing and everything happens on Zoom. I think COVID made us realize COVID changed the dynamic of our planet, right? A lot of people
yeah.
don't meet now. They just online most of the time. It has its pros and cons, like some way society has been better and some way it has
But that's
been.
how that's how the world evolves. That's how
Hmm.
it is.
Yeah, I like to pick up the good things in the world personally. And have you ever been confronted about the atheism? Like when you changed and you had friends, did you discuss it to any of your friend and how did they react?
I don't think I've had any serious confrontations. Like once my mother,
Mhm.
during one of her angry fits, she was like, "How you are straying away from the path of God or whatever." But I didn't take that seriously, and I don't entertain her anymore in her violent fits.
Mhm.
So that was there, and other than that, I guess my friends. I don't think my friends care that much. I've had friendly conversations with religious people, but I don't think I'd ever pick up a debate with someone. I don't think I've done that.
Mhm. Cool.
Right.
And have you, when you were critically thinking, have you ever thought about what if atheism is wrong? What if there is a God?
That's the whole thing, right? When you watch Richard Dawkins,
Mm.
you realize that it's the other way around. It's not what if there is a God. The question is, for me to even entertain the idea of God, there
Mhm.
needs to be proof. There isn't. There isn't any proof. Like zero zero. You have heard about this uh, story that. Have you watched? Okay, there is a story that every time someone asks him this question, what he's saying. If I tell you there is this teapot revolving around Jupiter, okay,
Mhm.
and I tell you that that teapot is my God, okay, you cannot disprove me, okay? Do you believe me? You can't disprove me, but that doesn't make it right. To believe in something so extraordinary, you need to have extraordinary evidence,
Mm.
and it's not the other way around. It's not like you are like it's equal probability that God exists or doesn't exist. It's not like that thing. It's
Mm.
like for me to even entertain the idea that God exists, there should be proof, and there isn't any. So we are not even entertaining.
That's the exact argument I used against my friend who was asking, what if you're wrong? And I'm like, well, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But can you disprove an old man living on the Jupiter planet? I've met him. Can you disprove that? And he said, you're talking
you
about
know
this.
I feel the sad thing is even when we do make these arguments, because this is very logical, right? For us, like we are very sure about it, because it's very clear and it makes total sense, right? But I don't think that's how theists understand that. If you say that to a theist, they would be like, no, we are trying to be open minded. What if
Hmm,
there is, we do not know, and they somehow don't equate an old man living on Jupiter, that is not equal to the idea of God. The idea of God is somehow inherently an entertainable idea for some reason.
how do you think we should deal with these sort of things, or how should we put
I
it out
don't
there?
think I don't think we can do anything about it. I
Hmm,
don't think so. Yeah, I think let them be. But I do one thing I do think that we can do is we can attack the small things. That is what I think is more important than the idea of God. So I was saying we should attack the small things, like someone saying drink turmeric tea. We should
hmm,
question that because we should. I think we should try to make people understand the idea of scientific reasoning and critically thinking. How things work. Like I think we should explain to them how drinking ginger tea there has been no evidence to it, and how when you have some kind of a disease and you go to a hospital, you get treatment. There is so much research done on it, right? There is so much research. There are so many scientists who have worked for so many years for that medicine to be a thing, and
hmm.
there's so much research, and that's why you're getting help from that medicine. But drinking turmeric drink, there is no evidence to it, and it's very random that you're doing it. And I think that is a small way of maybe making inroads into their minds, maybe.
Hmm.
And I think it's more important to question the small things in life that God is. I think it's kind of irrelevant. If you address all the other things, it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, no, I agree. God is irrelevant in all of this conversation, but
Yeah.
it still is a
Because
very.
these things have real impact on their life, right? I mean,
Hmm,
not that God doesn't, God also does, but like someone who believes in, like my mother totally believed in this wacky, guy who, he had a thing where he did like Ayurveda. It's not Ayurveda again. It's the same guy who went on that channel and got
hmm.
totally But he sells some leaves or something for gallbladder. There was this guy. I don't remember people's names. Okay, so I don't remember his name. But there was this guy, who claimed that he could cure gallbladder stone, by making you eat some leaf, something random like that. It's
Oh,
called
wow.
some white here. He's called, I don't remember. So she totally believed in that. And I totally, obviously, didn't tell my brother. I had, like, he was also obviously, like, we were laughing at it. And she took it personally at that time. And she was like, how dare you laugh at, my beliefs. And so I think these things have actual impact on people's lives, right? These
Hmm.
medicines, things like that. And I think it's important to talk about that, more than talking about God, maybe.
The problem with talking about God is, or God being a concept there, is once you start believing in a God, you can start believing in any other thing. There's no
Yeah,
there's no stopping, so people become more gullible. That's why
yeah.
sometimes you need to attack the God character.
We need to attack that. We
Mm,
need to attack that.
yeah,
Sure, I'm not
like
saying it needs to be, but I think it's too difficult. It's like, you're climbing Mount Everest. The first time you're climbing a mountain,
oh no,
it's like,
yeah, exactly. It has to be
yeah,
like
but
gradual
we can just climb
progress.
the small mountain, like
Yeah.
tell them how this is not true because there is no scientific evidence.
Have you heard about street epistemology?
Can you repeat?
Street epistemology.
No.
Okay, there is a guy named Anthony Magnoboscos, and I
Okay.
can tell you the name later. But basically, I found his show. He's got a YouTube channel, and it's really slow. But
Uh,
he asks questions, and he doesn't direct people where they want to go, but he asks like genuine questions, like
mm,
why do you believe what you believe in? So epistemology is basically how do you know what you know, right?
mm.
And then why is your biasness against that? So he has some interesting conversations with Christians and stuff.
I think
Obviously,
that is a very good technique that I mean, I'm not good at it, but I have realized that's the only way you can have conversations with people who believe in random things.
yeah. And there was one
Because
good,
if you tell them they're wrong, most people are just offended by it. They're not going to even entertain that conversation. I actually met a guy who was like an Andrew Tate fan.
like
And
a
I
what?
was, Andrew Tate, you have heard
Oh,
about
oh,
Andrew?
oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a big Tate guy. So, why you are?
No, 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 I'm not.
No, yeah, don't. Okay. Anyway, so I met this guy, and I usually never get, after becoming an atheist, after becoming the person that I am today, thinking everything rationally and critically, I have actually not even entertained people, in debates. I feel like it's worthless. People are really feisty about their beliefs and they're trying to convert you. I think that's the most amount of people I met who are trying to convert you, right? Because you are wrong. So I feel like it's worthless, to even entertain them. I usually don't even entertain them at all, whatever lost cause. But this guy just, struck a nerve because Andrew Tate is a wife beater, like
Hmm.
if he talks about beating women, that's just too much. How can you ever in your sane mind be okay with that? That's just crazy to me. Okay. And I think one of the, like in 2, 3 years, one of the only guys I regret even entertaining, because he honestly believed that, right? He totally, why did I start the story? I forgot what I was trying to say. Sorry.
That's all right.
Let's,
With
yeah, anyways, leave it. Yeah.
with Andrew Tate, I like to use the word allegedly. I'm not following what he's doing, or I've just heard this name, and it comes across like a chauvinist, or that sort of a person. And he had said something which is questionable at best. But he's like one of those
Oh,
things.
yeah, I remember it.
Okay, go on.
Can I? You're talking about how you need to question people, right?
Mhm.
You just silently like question them, why they believe this, why,
Hmm.
just ask them a lot of why questions. I think, yeah, I think that is one person. I don't think I did it well. I just came out of this conversation feeling really angry at how stupid this person is, and yeah, and I came out of it realizing that that is not, it's pointless because he clearly didn't change any of his views,
Hmm.
and it didn't help anyone, that conversation. And we were actually having dinner. There were a few other people, and it was not that nice, and I just didn't like it, that I even took part in it. So I was like, it's worthless. Then I came out of that conversation thinking that if I ever engage in a conversation like that again, if then I should ask a bunch of why questions, like why.
Hmm.
That's it, not ever. It's useless to bring evidence in front of them, even tell them that Andrew Tate has clearly
Hmm.
said that he beats his wife, etc. It's pointless to them. They have a lot of counter arguments already. They have thought of it or whatever. It's pointless.
Hmm.
Just question them a bit and leave it at that.
Well, yeah, if the conversation is genuine, then you should go ahead with it. But if you find out that if you ask someone, do you care about the truth? And the person goes no, then what's the point of talking about it?
They don't, right? In
Yeah,
their head,
like
they
some
feel they're.
people don't. Some people, it takes time. Like, because for me, I didn't think about all of the atheist stuff at all until I was like 28 or 29, until my colleague introduced me to like atheist experience. And then he was the bastard why I become an atheist. But anyways, that's all good. And that's what I'm saying. I never really questioned it because I was not pointed to it. So I still think conversations are essential. But when you're talking to a cynical person, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, it's a
But
waste of time.
yeah, but if somebody's genuinely never thought about it, or keeping an open mind is necessary. When you think the conversation is going downhill, I liked what you said is attack the small things like why is turmeric tea good or ginger tea is good. But if you're really passionate about it, if like somebody says, "Oh, drink turmeric tea and it'll make you healthy," I just go, "Nah, whatever." But if they keep pushing me to that, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
start asking questions like, "Why do you think this is going to help me?" Because it's yuck. What's your evidence and all that, and how many people have you given it? So this sort of thing, you can question. And if like in my family, people say, "Do you want to join this puja or prayer session?" I just go, "I don't feel like it because I'm unwell or whatever." And then if they keep pushing it, then I said, "Well, I've got this work and I have to go away." At that moment, when everybody is around them, there's no point in talking to them
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm not going to go anywhere. But when in person, I have this conversation with my dad, it's like, look, you want me to do this, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. I have told him that, I'm an atheist, but he just think, don't joke on that stuff. And I don't go forward because it's not worth having the conversation. If he wants to have a one-on-one conversation, he can always ask me, were you being serious? And then I can go into a conversation. So I wouldn't have conversation with certain people, but then there are a lot of people who have a lot of power and then they use it to bad things. That's when I think somebody needs to step up. The whole idea of my channel is to promote critical thinking. Not that, believe me, in the start videos that I made, like animated ones, long, long time ago. My idea, every time I say, let us think, right? And the reason behind it is don't believe me because I have no clue, and I'm still learning. So just whatever I say, research on it. If I'm saying that your holy book is wrong, well, why don't you read it just like you did?
I would like to interject. I think that is a very crucial, extremely crucial aspect of being atheist or being a rational thinker is that you are never telling anyone that you are right. You're never saying that. You are just telling them to look at evidence. And I think that's exactly why these people won't believe us because they just want to see people like Sadhguru who seem to know everything. Sadhguru
Oh
has answers
man.
to everything, right? Who are you? You don't know anything. You clearly say yourself that you're not too sure of yourself, right? So
Hmm.
why would I believe you, right? I would just rather listen to Sadhguru or Jordan Peterson for that instance, who has answers for everything, right? I would just go there, right? I think that is the worst part of it. Even though that is incredibly stupid.
Jordan,
Obviously, Sadhguru doesn't know everything. Huh?
yeah, Jordan Peterson is an interesting character. His religious work is something that I don't agree with because whatever he says, but his communication work, because I think he's a really good communicator.
Really? I would
Yeah,
like to differ. I think he says a lot of gibberish,
yeah, I
with a
mean,
lot of.
there is like communication is just making your point and getting through to the other person. I'm not saying his point is right or wrong, you know, but
Gibberish. he opens his mouth to say gibberish. Okay, like I can give you. There is a debate between Jordan Peterson and Richard Dawkins, which is very interesting. I think we should
Oh no,
watch it.
I may have watched it. I've like you,
In
I've
which
watched.
Jordan Peterson claimed that if you do certain drugs, you can see DNA with your naked eyes. Things like
Oh no,
that.
that is pointless. That's all bollocks.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
I'm not saying to believe what he's saying.
I'll tell you one thing. Maybe there are aspects of Jordan Peterson which are great. Okay, maybe there are certain things that he said that
Mm,
make sense or whatever. But I feel the problem with people like Jordan Peterson is that you never know when they're right or wrong. You never
mm,
know when he's talking based out of evidence and when he's just bullshitting you. So when you listen to a lecture, he's not a reliable person. You need to look up everything, right? But at the same time, why I love Richard Dawkins, I feel, is because he is someone who's always talking out of evidence. He has formed his Jordan Peterson is not someone who has formed his critical thinking and rationally looking at things. I don't think he has done that. I
mm.
don't think he has done his homework for me to rely him.
What's
The same way I feel like Richard Dawkins has done his homework so that I can rely, on things he says.
yeah? What's your thoughts on transgenderism?
I think that's a little bit of I think I'm on the fence, like about a few things. The
Mm,
thing is, at the end of the day, I believe that it's anyone's choice to live however they want to live. I feel like I'm no one to say that they have the right to do whatever or not to do whatever. I do not think so. But I just recently, came upon a lot of videos. I think this is not a phenomenon relevant to India. What I'm going to talk about. I mean,
mm,
transgender people are, and they deserve all the respect. I mean, obviously, I think they are as human as I am, and they deserve everything in life as much as I do, and they're equal to me. But I saw a few documentaries about how in the US they're pushing this narrative about it being gender fluid and everything is fluid and
yeah.
like
I'm
kids
I'm
are
on a I'm on a fence on that as well. But the reason
yeah
I
that
brought
I don't think is I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a healthy culture. You growing up, you tell your kids you can be anything. I actually watched a documentary. I think it was from Switzerland where there is a nursery where it's like a gender fluid nursery or something. And kids have told you can be anything. You can be anything you want to be. I'm
Mhm.
like, what if that kid is like, I want to be a cat? You can't be a cat, right? You
Mm.
can't, right?
No,
There are some borders.
yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that, and I'm on the fence on that topipic as well because I
Yeah.
just don't have enough
But I do
education.
think the problem is that transgender people, of course, first face a lot of discrimination, especially in India. They face a lot of problems. If you look at statistics, they are probably, they never get any government job or they're not, a lot of ways they're facing, they get kicked out of their houses and all of that, right? So I think when we disagree with that aspect of the movement, I think it's more or less, you know, it's originating from the West and the part of the transgender movement that's originating from India, I think we should support. They're definitely going through a lot.
The reason I brought up the transgender topic is because you were talking about Richard Dawkins, and I think in his recent interviews, he has spoken to someone, I can't really remember, and haven't watched the full interview, but he's the person who's not on the fence. He pretty much denies transgenderism. So
He
the
denies
reason,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
so the reason I wanted to brought it up because you sounded like you're a fan of Richard Dawkins, and I am too.
Yeah.
His work on atheism and the God delusion, the book that he wrote and is really good. But I'm just saying that
You read the
there are
book? I would like.
I don't read, I do audiobooks because I,
Oh, okay.
I can't read, but
I don't
audiobooks
know.
I do.
I don't know. I don't believe it.
Sorry?
I don't believe in audiobooks. It's not the same as reading, like, right? It's like
I
you're
feel,
not totally concentrating. Like when you're reading, you are.
I
That's
fall
what I feel.
asleep, honestly. Audiobooks is like I can read one book in like 3, 4 days when I'm cooking, right? Because
Uh-huh.
cooking takes like one and a half
But you
hours.
zone out, right?
Sorry?
You zone out, right? You zone out of it, out of
No,
listening to it.
when you're cooking, you kind of not have anything to do, and if you have headphones, it's just with the books, I have to actually sit down and then read.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with audiobooks, I can do it multiple. And yeah, yes, you're right. I do zone out, but I zone out more while reading
Okay.
than than audiobooks. So, but anyways, that book's really good. So what I'm saying is a person can be right or wrong at the same time, but we should pick up
Mhm.
the right things about him. Like,
Yeah, okay. You're right about that. Richard Dawkins could very well be wrong about 100 things.
mhm,
That is true, and you can't be like this person is 100% right. That is true. But again, I'm saying even when he is wrong, I can disagree with him, but he definitely has his own reasons for it. If you talk to him about
oh,
it,
of
I'm
course,
sure he will bring up a lot of reasons, a lot of logical reasons, not like out of nowhere. But my issue with Jordan Peterson is that half of his thing, there's no logic. Like I've literally seen him talk about how if you do drugs, you can see DNA, like with your naked eyes.
mm,
There's no sense in that. So I'm not gonna believe a guy like that. I think I just don't respect a guy like
yeah, I mean that's fine. I
that.
when I think about critical thinking, then I need to think, see what their content is on different aspects. And everybody has different.
More than anything, I think I have a problem with people who try to unnecessarily overcomplicate what they're trying to say. I think he constantly does that.
No, no, no.
He's just
But
using.
he has done good lectures on like communicating. That is nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with science. It's just how you present yourself.
I
And
understand. I'm
yeah,
saying a lot of the times when I listen to him, I feel like he's using unnecessarily, big words to sound good. I
would
feel
you
he
say
constantly is
would
doing
you
that.
say you have developed a bias against him?
Let me think. Maybe I have. Maybe I have.
Hmm, that's good.
But I do think there is much reason to it. If I feel like if right now if I go on YouTube and find a video, a random video of Jordan Peterson, I'll mostly feel like he's unnecessarily complicated. What he's like the things he's saying, maybe he can say in a very simple language, but of course it won't sound that attractive to people, right? Because it's
Well,
just
I'm
normal
I'm
English.
just saying that we should have an open mind to things.
Maybe. Mhm.
That's how I look at it. Trust me, I
And
find it
again,
hard.
he has also said a lot of things against women, like how women shouldn't go to work and
Oh
women
yeah, of
should,
course, he's a
yeah.
Christian, right? So it comes with the baggage comes with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
it's in the
can only
Bible.
hit a guy like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
no, I mean,
cannot.
the Bible has put a lot of baggage, and some. I'm not saying he's a great person, no, and I'm not saying that Richard Dawkins is a bad person. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that
Yeah, I
if you,
understand where you're coming from. You feel there are other things that he's,
hmm,
about other topics maybe he's good at. I just feel like if I don't agree with someone, like at least I need to agree with someone
yeah, I
like
mean
70%, for
that
me to take them seriously.
yeah,
Like
I
for
mean,
me.
if you don't want to listen to him, then that's fine. And I'm
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm not like promoting him or anything. I don't even know why I landed on the Jordan Peterson talk now because
To be
I've
honest, I've met a
forgotten.
lot of people who I have never liked Jordan Peterson, and I think I have had many people who
Hmm.
have questioned me on it.
No, I like, well, I like Christopher Hitchens, some of his subtle remarks, and I like Sam Harris's debates as well. I like his way of thinking.
They're
And
all
Rich,
good. They're all good.
yeah, and the documentary about Richard Dawkins that I first saw was Faith School Menace or something on YouTube. I think
School.
Faith School Menace.
I don't
So
remember the name. Is it the one in which he goes to different schools, religious schools? And
yeah, he goes to multiple religious schools in like
yeah,
like in England or somewhere. There's like
yeah,
people just have this sort of. So I think that was very well done, and that's
yeah,
when
yeah.
I found him, and then I started his conversation with Loris Krauss was really good. Loris Krauss is
Lawrence Cross, right? He's a physicist, right? They're
yeah, he's a
friends. Yeah, I've
physicist.
seen that. There is a talk show. Like it's not a debate, right? Because they agree.
No, they were just
They're just
having a
sitting together
conversation,
talking.
and I was
Yeah,
like, that's my jam.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But
I remember watching that and thinking like I need more of this.
yeah, I mean,
Why did it happen?
I used to zone out on that stuff. I bought YouTube Premium for that stuff because I didn't want to have ads.
Okay.
So, so thanks, YouTube. But it's so good talking to you, Shilpa. I honestly can
Oh yeah.
keep talking and talking because we're just, going through, but we have to respect time as well. Whatever we've said today, it doesn't matter. If you think we are wrong, tell us why. And if you think we are right, why don't join the bandwagon? Let us think about it, and you can call us atheist.